Welcome to Progressive Political Perspectives. I'm going to read a brief mission statement, if you will. Our purpose is to create an oasis in a political desert that actually touches people's lives. The show will discuss issues that are ripe for conversation and make a difference. We strive to unite the traditional Democratic Party base and then build an audience. We want to reach the disaffected, the young, females, and those who feel they have no voice. In short, to expand the core. And I'll introduce myself. My name is James Curtis Carey, and I think of myself as a Democratic Party activist here locally in Allen County. And to my right is Audrey Davis.
Hi, thank you, Curtis, for that introduction. Thank you for rooting us in what we're trying to do with this new and exciting progressive political perspectives panel and series. My job as co-host with Curtis is to today let us know just a little bit about who we both are in terms of co-hosts. So Curtis and I, while we're both veterans, it turns out, and we're both from the Midwest and did a lot of travel in our decades previous to coming back to Fort Wayne, we also are what I would consider kind of two different kinds of progressives. Curtis coming into the Democratic Party through union membership as a postal worker, and me coming into just recently deciding that I would be okay calling myself a Democrat, but through a decade of community organizing and work with Catholic theology and wrestling with social issues. So while we both offer kind of two different tracks of our own progressive thinking, we're also very similar. We're both white. We both live in pretty stable home environments, and we have blind spots that we'll be aiming to fill with lots of perspectives coming to this table from the expressions and the experiences that represent Fort Wayne. So with not much further ado, we want to now introduce you to our panelist that's here today with us, our current candidate for County Commissioner, Jorge Fernandez.
Hello, Audrey and Curtis. It's great to be here.
Jorge is an experienced political candidate. He's run for the state legislature District 50 seat twice. He's a high school chemistry teacher. I think he works for Fort Wayne Community Schools. And he's a dedicated leader. And you might want to add to that.
If you want me to. So I've served in several educational capacities, and I'm looking to be a county commissioner full time. So I've kind of pulled back on the teaching role this school year. But I have a teaching license in the state of Indiana. I've served as a science teacher. I've also worked in substitute capacities in math. I am certified in science and chemistry, and that kind of educational background really, I think, gives me a different perspective to bring to the county commissioners if I'm elected. The criminal justice system is the county commissioners deal a lot with the criminal justice system, and my work as an educator, I think, helps inform me on how that intersects with students, not just students involved directly, but students that have parents involved in the criminal justice system. There was a survey done in 2015 of Northeast Indiana, children in Northeast Indiana, and it showed, between grades in 6 through 12, that 23% of those children had already had a parent incarcerated, by that at some point in their lifetime already. So we know that the impact on children of the criminal justice system is very significant, and I think it's an underlooked aspect on of the criminal justice system, its impact indirectly on families. I think the impact of being incarcerated is significant. Oftentimes people lose their housing, they lose their jobs, and then even people that know that, I don't think discuss enough how that indirectly affects families.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Jorge, because my initial question indeed is, could you please give our audience a brief description of the duties of the Allen County Commissioners? I think you've touched on criminal justice.
Yeah, so the county commissioners is kind of a hodgepodge of responsibilities. It's the state legislature, and it indicates what the county commissioners' powers are, what their responsibilities are, and so if it's not covered basically by another department, oftentimes it gets thrown to the county commissioners. In general, it's the executive and legislative body of the county. So any like ordinances, for example, generally go through the county commissioners on the county level, and so the city structures are different in how their responsibility is broken out. But the county commissioners on the county level have the legislative, the executive, which is for a city, an executive would be like a mayor, so it's kind of like a mayor for the county. There's different responsibilities of the state legislature. There's some things that like a mayor wouldn't have. Like, for example, the mayor can have a police department, but on the county level, the sheriff serves as the law, basically the main law enforcement agency for the county. There's the county council on the county level is about spending, with some exceptions. So,
Sure.
yeah, it's about the fiscal body. It's about appropriations.
And fiduciary responsibility?
But on the county level, it's county property is by the county commissioners, so that goes along with the jail. They're responsible for the jail facility because that's county property. Not what happens inside of it is the sheriff's responsibility in general. They appoint to different boards. The state legislature, that's kind of like in their hodgepodge. State legislature gives them appointments to various boards. They do transportation in the unincorporated parts of the county. Zoning, they're involved in zoning, mostly in unincorporated parts of the county, but they're also involved in the Allen County Comprehensive Plan.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, as far as zoning. So they have, again, very, very varied responsibilities. Contracting is one of the big ones. It's one of the few county entities that can contract. So oftentimes, if there needs to be a contract, entities go to them. And so oftentimes when you're dealing with outside agencies, third parties, you often end up, going to them, because if they're going to deal with outside parties, you usually want a contract. So oftentimes the commissioners are involved in that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jorge.
We really, we've always admired how much of a breadth of knowledge you have about local government, and how much of a civic life you've been cultivating over the last decade here in Fort Wayne. And like Curtis mentioned, you've run for office before, but it seems like there's a really unique opportunity at this current moment when the county is considering the largest building project in its history for new leadership, for somebody who's going to bring a new social imagination to those questions. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit more about your own personal story? What motivated you to run for this position? So
I'm interested very much in changing the kind of the societal hindrances to to education, which I've been involved in. I've been having worked in the classroom. There's you can't separate the outside, what happens outside those four walls, so to speak, from what happens inside that classroom. Students come with with what's happening in their home life, what's happening, in general outside of those four walls. They come with that to the classroom, and you try to do your best if you're a teacher, like I've been. You try to do your best dealing with that, but we need to look at these, on the public policies on a systemic level that are hindering, the development of children in general, not just educational, but holistically, children's well-being. And so, I'm interested in public policy, on just in general, but my direct experience with children kind of reinforces the importance of this role. And there's various roles in public policy, and there's their importance. This one, the entire county of Allen can vote for it. It's people that have been marginalized in Southeast Fort Wayne, they can vote on this, and so it's really an opportunity to bring in marginalized voices into the public discourse, into public policy, in a way that we haven't seen in this county.
So you want to give the people a voice?
I do. I want to give the people. I want people that are affected by these policies, that have been kind of that have been marginalized by various public policies, from different levels, federal, state, down to local, and do what we can at the local level to try to alleviate that. So this, I think, was kind of the best opportunity for me to do it, given given that it does, the district is us encompass. Includes those marginalized voices that do have a chance to come out and to vote and to, say that they don't like the current direction of our local government.
Yeah, so great, thank you, Jorge. So would you say, in short, that your platform includes what you've just been describing, transparency, criminal justice reform,
Yes.
and support of working families?
Absolutely. So, that's, these aspects are ones that I know I can improve upon in county government. That's been a frustration with, that I've seen with the county commissioners, and there's frustrations I have with multiple levels. So it is difficult to kind of set on, one office, because I think we do need more. We need change, in various offices. But that is something specific to this office that I do want to change, and I want to make sure that we're communicating with the public, where they are more so than, and that we're letting people, know what we know, and not just having decisions made behind closed doors.
Amen.
When it's not, unless it's required by state law,
Sure.
And even then, I think we should push, for legislative changes to increase transparency. Even
So
then,
disclosure across the board.
yeah. So, when we have a situation where in June they're saying, oh, we're not going to come up with a Southeast Side jail, or it's not going to be on the Southeast, and we're in Adams and Paulding where the proposed location is, and then July they're saying, oh, that's the one we're giving for our federal judge ruling. That's not transparency.
And in this process, groups like the change makers and help not handcuffs have been shut out of the process, barred from meetings and such, right?
Yes, it took a long time to get the commissioners to come to a meeting, and they've been very dismissive of groups like Help Not Handcuffs, of meeting with them, saying that it would be one of the commissioners saying it would be a waste of time because if he met and he didn't have other stakeholders there, which is strange because they've been having meetings with I don't think they have enough of them, but they've been having meetings with the public in various capacities for years. But then that's what they're saying this year is that because this involves different elected officials, then we can't have these, or when it makes sense to have these meetings. And they finally sat down, I think, with Help Not Handcuffs, but it took them several months.
Yeah, and just to expound on that, as you know, Jorge, eventually the amazing amount of resistance that's coming toward the commissioner's office from business owners, from pastors, from people who live and teach on the Southeast side. Just recently, the Southeast County School Board released a statement in opposition towards the Southeast community being used as a location for the jail. And still, they have yet to withdraw that from the table and also to even hold a meeting with the constituents on the Southeast community. So it seems like there's kind of a tunnel vision in the current commissioner's makeup, which, as we know, is a monolithic Republican triad of people. When you think about what opportunity exists currently in this county to address long-time issues with new and innovative solutions, what are some of the things that you would like to bring into this conversation?
Well, you're saying the monolithic kind of makeup of the county commissioners I don't think helps, and so I am Latinx, I'm Latino, and so I would be a person of color on the county commissioners board, and I think diversity and inclusion are good things, and it doesn't. Just given my background, I am focused on bringing equity into the conversations of county commissioners. So in their discussions, in the voting, I think I don't think they've been. I think they've been avoiding a lot of discussions and a lot of votes that they don't want to deal with, and so I think rather than just being there and just being kind of, I mean, it'd probably be historic given the historical breakout of the county commissioners if I was elected. But I think the kind of really important thing is how it would affect policy. I mean, I understand what it is like to be a person of color in this county. And I will be listening to voices that have been marginalized in our county, regardless of what race they are, what their background is. And there'll be people that I disagree with, but I am hoping to have more open conversations than what the county commissioners have.
That's great. Yeah. Nelson Peters recently commented that the Allen County Commissioner's sole responsibility in this current jail imbroglio is to construct a new jail. Do you agree or disagree with that statement? Why or why not?
Can you repeat that again?
Yes, sir, of course.
Yeah.
Mr. Peters said that the Allen County Commissioner's sole responsibility in the current jail imbroglio is to construct a new jail. I am paraphrasing him.
I disagree with that statement. It has a very limited view of the county commissioner's role. They do appoint to various boards that have an impact on, I think, how many people are incarcerated indirectly. It is not as direct as what the judges or the prosecutor have, as far as, because prosecutor has charging discretion, judges have sentencing discretion, but their appointments, for example, to boards that deal with the criminal justice system, like the Public Defender's Board. Though, when you're talking about how people in the criminal justice system are, if they're able to bond out or not, and how they work with the prosecutor, the Allen County Defender's Board, it makes an impact. So even though it's one of three, there was a recent issue with the Allen County Chief Public Defender being suspended, and and the way that was handled is kind of questionable, because one of the people on the board did not agree to reinstate him, but the board in general, the other two, voted to reinstate him, and so that, even though there's limited public knowledge as far as what happened in there, I think that's concerning, especially when you have the Allen County Allen County Public Defender's Board saying that not to retaliate against people that were involved in the investigation. So I think there's some concerning things happening within the public defender system, and so that impacts how many people we have in the jail system here in Allen County. So just saying that it's limited to just building a jail, I think doesn't really appreciate the breadth of responsibilities. Contracting, like with Quality Correctional Care, the medical provider for the jail, and whether you're getting proper medical care in jail, including mental health, has an impact on recidivism and reentry. Yeah.
That leads up to the next question. I'm going to ask one more question at this point. Why are there no meaningful programs to treat inmates' drug abuse and behavioral health issues?
Yeah, well, they started a chemical addiction program. Is my understanding. At least the sheriff's department said they started one. I think yeah, but it's an open question of what they're actually doing in that program. They haven't released, I think, too much info as to how they're going about it.
So efficacy is in question.
Yeah, I definitely think efficacy is in question, and there's some significant questions with the current medical provider that's been contracted, how they've treated various incidents in the past, about how they are dealing with mental health. And we know substance abuse, I think substance abuse in general, as you can see, kind of Indeed,
your opponent, Rich Beck, said that fully 80% of Allen County inmates have mental health problems.
Yeah, and I think substance abuse in general for the end user. I'm not talking about traffickers, but for people that are using illegal substances, I think should be looked at as a mental health issue rather than a criminal issue. So,
Yes, sir.
But obviously the state has laws it has regarding that. But I think we can kind of push for more of that if we have funding to the mental health arena. I think we need, I think there's money there. There's money available that could be focused more, and I think also advocating for that. I
Perhaps
think would be
better
important.
utilized?
Yeah, I think could be better utilized, and I'd want a study to look at all these aspects, to look at how our money is being spent, if the money that we're spending on mental health programs, if it's being used in the best possible manner, how we can deal with the fee system, because there's people I think that will not go into these mental health programs because they have to pay a fee.
I'm going to defer to Audrey at this point.
Yeah, just to reiterate the fact that your platform consists of a lot of the things that the community has been calling for when it comes to particularly the question of what the commissioners could do to lead instead of continue to kick the can down the road with reform. Bringing in independent agency to do a total criminal justice assessment locally would be something that it sounds like you're endorsing.
Yes.
And also, as you mentioned, the commissioners oftentimes point to the state as being, what's kind of the bend in the neck, the linchpin or the holdup for proceeding with any of these kinds of reforms, because they say that they have to deal with all the state laws. But it sounds like there's quite a bit of imagination for a candidate like yourself to begin to look locally at what a county could do to try new solutions, like a comprehensive crisis response network, or being able to create a treatment center instead of a new jail. These are things that it sounds like you would be open to looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Community Corrections Advisory Board, which by the state deals with a lot of the alternative programs in the county and gets, I think, some state support. Making sure that their appointments to that board are ones that will improve the program is going to be important. Making sure we have the best possible appointments for that board as well as other boards, like I was mentioning, because again, I think if we offer the judges, if we offer the prosecutor, better options. Even though I can't decide again on charging, I can't decide on sentencing if I was elected. If we offer better options, then it removes a reason, a reason not to pursue it gives gives people it gives them an option. It gives other elected officials a way to improve the system, and not feel like they have to go down this direction of just incarceration.
More and more, lock them up and throw away.
Yeah.
Fill it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you please tell us what kinds of opportunities present themselves in the future for the Allen County Commissioners?
Well,
you might have already elaborated on that somewhat.
Yeah, and if I go back a little bit on the study, I think having a study can really give us an idea of what commissioners can do and what other elected officials can do. And contracting, like I said, the commissioners can contract for various things. And so, if we can find the money, and I'm sure the money's there. But if, again, county council deals with the money, but if we can get appropriation, or whether it's a federal grant or a state grant for a study, I think getting the commissioners to contract for that, because they've already done a study, but it was by somebody that's involved in building jails. The
Elevatus, the architecture firm.
Yeah, and it was so limited in scope. I think there's it's problematic in several ways to be using that as kind of the the go-to for what we need to do in this county regarding the jail. And so having a study, I think contracting for that would allow us to see what role we can do, and it would also put pressure on other elected entities that for their responsibilities in dealing with this. So I think even if it's not directly doing something, even the advocacy part, even indirectly, the commissioners I think can be a force for positive change. There's stuff that the county council is involved with, like the fund, again, since county council is the funding body in general for the county. There's stuff that they're involved with, like the American Rescue Plan dollars, and supposedly it's about $70 million, and a lot of it is unallocated at this point. And there's conversations as far as county council of what they're going to do with it. But if it involves contracting, which a lot, again, if you're generally dealing with outside entities, you want to go to the commissioners for that. So I think that's an opportunity, the American Rescue Plan, to really focus resources on mental health, on the crises that are facing the marginalized communities in this county.
And the majority of families in the county.
And the majority, for that matter, yeah.
Great.
So I want to just ask in closing, one of the things that make it so exciting to have this new platform is to actually hear from our candidates that generally we agree with their values, but we want to make sure that they actually have a strategy to win.
Yes.
Because as you know, county races are majority Republican, I think like 60-40 historically.
About a 60-40.
So you're talking about taking on a new approach with this election. Can you tell us about how you plan to win and how you'd like voters to join you in that?
So my website, well, let me first say how I plan to win. I'm going to need lots of volunteers in order to win, because we need to be reaching out to voters, reach out to citizens, even if they're not currently registered, where they are. So we need knocking on doors, making phone calls. Is going to be really important. And then where we can reach them in other ways, media, newspapers, pursue that too. But we really need to get those that haven't been voting in Allen County. We need to get them involved. If you are eligible, if you can, because not everybody is can vote. There's if you're under 18, obviously you can vote. But those that are eligible, they're U.S. citizens or that are going to become U.S. citizens. We make sure that they are engaged. We need to try to get them and make sure that they come out and vote. So, and then talk to them and make them realize we have we're kind of the best choice for this office.
Sure.
It's and then persuade people that if they're someone that doesn't necessarily tend to vote for candidates that are on the Democratic ticket, make them realize I am one of three. I would be one of three on this board,
sure.
And I would provide just get the county commissioners to really have further discussion and stuff. So I need volunteers for that.
We're almost out of time. Tell us your website.
CandidateFernandez.com is my website. Yes.
We are generally all behind you when it comes to the imagination that you hold for re-envisioning things like criminal justice, transparency at a county level, and bringing a new voice into what is currently an echo chamber. So tell us before you leave, what is your strategy to win?
Yeah, regardless of how people have voted in the past, if they may have not voted, I think they can come out and really be a part of changing things this election. And if people come out and support this great opportunity that we have here, we will be successful. I need volunteers for that. I need people that are willing to knock on doors, make phone calls. If you want further information, you can go to candidatefernandez.com. My other contact information is there, my campaign email. Please call so that if you are interested in really taking advantage of the opportunity we have to get some new leadership on the county level that's really going to look out for everyone in this community, and especially groups that have been historically kind of marginalized and neglected. Every voice is important in this county, and our county government should reflect that.
I want to thank the audience at home and our guest, and Audrey for joining us in this inaugural show. And we look forward to seeing more of you in the future. We're going to feature other county candidates for this 2022 election in November.
Amen. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on November 8th.